Hello again, I'm Jay Hicks with Gerald Properties, and we're back at Reviving Goolricks. We're happy to be here with Kylie Thompson of the Fredericksburg Area Museum again. Why don't you take us down the road and tell us what you found?
One of my favorite things, and we actually have some in our own collection, these are very simple, but I think very effective. These are labels. So these are pressure sensitive labels that would have been put on the front of the jars. And as you can see here, I pulled some that say Goolricks on them, and they have a system to them. So the ones that I grabbed here, this is iodine tincture. I'm not going to try to explain the compounds because I'm not a chemist and I will mess it up and someone might come after me.
Okay.
But if they come red, they're poisonous. And the thing I love about these is they don't always say call a physician. This one happens to, but not all of them do. But they give you directions in case you poison yourself. Okay. And so this one doesn't actually seem too bad, but if you want to read the antidote on this, I'll grab another one. Let's see, I know it's super tiny.
All right, it doesn't say if you're poisoned, it says antidote, and it says give starch, flour, or white of eggs mixed with water. Follow with emetic of mustard. Emetic, never seen that word before. If needed, use stimulants and demusant drink of flaxseed.
Yeah.
Any help with any of those words?
Yeah, so the emetic is actually going to make you throw it all up. So they're going to just have you ingest that mustard seed to try to get it all out. And I'm looking for one here. Let's see, if the labels were black, they were rather harmless. So we have castor oil here. It's not gonna go down great, but it's not gonna poison you. Let's see. Some of these will actually recommend that you take whiskey, or it'll say drink warm grease.
Okay.
Or mix with the mustard. They're gonna do whatever you can to get that out of you.
That's the whole point, is to expire it.
Yes.
To get it out of your system. Okay.
Yeah, so these labels, they're so simple, but they're so fun to read because it's just not something you see anymore. The directions are a lot more specific now. They're a lot safer.
Someone might have to read the antidote and die before they understand what they were told to do.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Okay, right on.
I've seen one for laudanum, and the antidote is to, I can't remember the exact things, but it ends with tickle your throat with a feather and walk about until you feel better. It's like, oh, hang on.
Good advice.
Yeah.
That could be good advice any day.
Yeah, right? It's like, just go for a walk, hope for the best. So those are always really neat. The last thing on the table here is this big wasp nest looking thing. It is not a wasp nest, it is a stack of prescriptions. So before computers, before electronic filing systems, oh, thank you. The pharmacists would need to hang on to their prescriptions. They may need to reference it again. They may be audited, who knows? So they would buy these metal wires or go find the metal wires. They just stick them on there until it was full. And you all have so many of these back here. They are massive and they all look like this. This one is just from 1951. I don't even think this is the whole year because there are several others from 1951 back here. And as you can see, it's hefty.
Oh, yeah.
So some pharmacies would hang them up as decoration because why not?
Shows they're busy.
Yeah, and just the fact that these have survived, they have survived a lot. It's such a cool look into how things were filed.
An active pharmacy.
As you can see, it's very brittle. It's been laying on its side for a while. As you tap it, the dust comes off, but it's kind of preserved itself in a way by there being so much pressure on each other.
But as your point, this is history.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Think about the number.
This is a snapshot of time in 1951, and the people, the privacy issues that may exist,
yeah.
But the people and what was going on, as you've mentioned a couple of times with us, a snapshot in time of what was happening in the town.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I'm sure if this were to be picked apart, viewers would say, oh, I know that person. I know who that is.
Oh, no. Meemaw and Granddaddy are in here somewhere.
Oh, for sure. Because not only did they file them like this wasn't the only way. Behind you, there are all these different drawers And inside these drawers are just stacks and stacks and stacks of more prescriptions. So they're hidden there. We have books all around that are just prescriptions. I'm pretty sure there's probably about 100 of them in here. And so I don't know how they kept track of them all. They were probably shoving them in the wall at this point, but...
Chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Chaos.
And...
Well, now, you pointed this out to me earlier, and you were fascinated. It's a almost like a storage box that looks like a bound book, but there was a significance to you about this.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I just happened to turn around and see that this has the Kishpaw name on it. Kishpaw was a printer here in Fredericksburg. He also did a bunch of stationery. If you look for your vintage postcards you may have in your collection of area scenes, you may see that some are printed by him. And we love in the collections world when his stuff pops up because it's hard to find that stuff. It's meant to fall apart. It's not meant to necessarily be kept. And what's even better than not only this being his stuff, the uniqueness of the container, but we also have the Goolrick's Pharmacy logo on it. This one's actually state withholding tax records, so we're just gonna leave that one alone.
Right.
But it's endlessly fascinating here that we could talk all day about what you have.
All right, well, I want to put you on the spot for a second because I remember when we visited you at the museum, we got into some scales.
Yes.
And ignorantly, I will say, I think we have some tremendous examples of scales in our collection. Would you mind possibly pointing out one? Or
No, let's go for the big one. Right. So as we kind of talked about last time is you can get scales relatively cheap. They look relatively simple like this, and they get the job done. But again, going to a pharmacy, especially in previous years, has been a visual experience. So if you walk in and you see these beautiful oak and marble scales, you know they mean business.
If there's a confidence builder in the patient customer for that the work is going to be done and done well.
Because you also know that you're buying these like brass plates, and this one's fun because it still works. And the fact that you all have the weights is very significant as well. I can't tell you the number of scales I come across that those weight slots are just empty. It's like, well, we need the whole thing. So this one was manufactured in New York. I was trying to find the company. I have an idea, but I don't want to say for sure. But again, it's all about the visual appeal.
It's beautiful.
It is. And even these
functional and beautiful
cast iron ones too as well. It's something so interesting to look at because it's not your normal looking scale. We have two different size plates, all the different size weights.
But all that would have been used and incorporated in the compounding of pharmaceuticals at Goolrick's.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure someone else could speak for it, but I'm sure they had one for this kind of thing, one for this kind of thing. So then you're also, from a sanitary perspective,
not mixing.
Yeah, you can keep your salves different from your powders and all of that.
That makes way too much sense. Excellent.
I always love big bottles of medicine. So this one is Mecklenburg's chloride calcium water. So it's for blood and skin diseases, female diseases, constipation, and all diseases requiring an alternative tonic. The thing I love about some of these old bottles is I just said the most vague things. And it's just, you got some kind of problem?
It covered it.
Yeah.
And then on the top it says nerve tonic.
Oh yes, a blood purifier and nerve tonic. It's very intimidating. And I think that's what a lot of these companies wanted as well, because you come in and you see these beautiful labels with blood purifier, nerve tonic. It's like, I want that. I want what's coming from the pretty bottle, as opposed to something like these other just gallon bottles. It doesn't have that advertising appeal. So there's so much advertising in the details as well. Even the sifter, this is a patented sifter, but it's beautiful. It's not just a stainless steel sifter. Yeah. So there's endless stories here.
And the vases that we talked about were obviously part of it. This has been an incredibly fascinating visit for me. I hope it's been for our viewers to get a little insight and view into some of the things that we did collect from the pharmacy itself, not just about the building, but the history of the business and its importance to Fredericksburg. And so we can't thank you enough for taking the time and sharing your expertise with us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I had a blast. Like I said, I could talk about this stuff all day. You guys, what you're doing is so important to just preserving the history and keeping the story of these pharmacies alive, because they were integral to the community. Without them, you don't really have Fredericksburg, because you're going to move on if you can't live here.
If you don't
can't
have the things
here.
that you need, such as doctor's medicine, that you would find in a town like Fredericksburg that was growing back at the turn of the century.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
For sure.
Well, Kylie, thank you again for joining us. It's been a pleasure, as always.
Thank you so much.
Please follow us on all our socials to stay up to date with the latest happenings.